And with me, as always, is Adam Asher from The Edge of Adventure. Adam won't be speaking during the intro of this episode because Adam dared to bet against the Green Bay Packers and lost the bet. So, in other news tonight, we have a very special episode, and we have with us Grazyna Orlemans, and we're very excited to talk with what we know her as Mama O from Twitter. And this is a woman who has many stories to tell, a great sense of humor, and just a lot to share, just like Adam does, but Adam can't until we come back from the music. So let's get started right here on Wander to the Edge. You can talk now.
Whew. You guys have how difficult that is. You have no idea how difficult it is to not do the talking. Mama O, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
We've been looking forward to this. We have been looking forward to this.
So we need to first make sure that we are saying your name correctly. Is it Grazyna?
Almost.
Adam,
you try.
Grazyna.
9 out of 10. Grazyna.
Who's
Grazyna? There you go. Grazyna.
Who said it closer, me or Adam?
I'm not playing this game, guys. Not now. Not with so many people watching. You will not get me in trouble. No way. No way.
So but it makes sense why you have become known as Mama O.
Well, being a mom is an important part of my identity, obviously, as some of you know, and you both definitely know. I am proud mom of Nicolette O, community builder and blogger. But the name Mama O was used many, many years ago by Nicolette's friends, because Nicolette was born on August 8th, so mostly her birthday parties were postponed and organized during Halloween or Christmas holiday period. So I would go crazy and organize very big parties where the kids would be relegated to unfinished basement covered with paper, so they could write wishes, or they could paint, or they could do lots of interesting stuff. And quite often they would say, "Mama, oh, will you adopt us?" So yeah, it stuck. And then later in my professional life, when I set up transition program office for over 60 European families who moved with our company to the United States, I was mothering some of those execs and their spouses, because it was difficult time for some of them to adjust. So they called me Transition Mama. And that stuck. And that's why I thought, okay, since I have some notoriety as Mama, let's go with that.
I love that. And of course, this is a photo of Nicolette, who we've also had on the program way back when we started. I think she was on episode 9 or so. And she spoke very highly of you, told us a couple of stories. We're looking forward to hearing some more.
Here's my first question then is, Mama, do you think as highly of her as she does of you?
Oh, Adam, you are being known as making women cry while interviewing, and I'm prepared, but I will just try not to. Of course, I'm biased and I'm partial, but Nicolette is my world. I'm so very proud of her, not only because of her professional and social achievements, but because of the person she is. Very warm, very emphatic, very friendly, very helpful, and patient. She didn't get it from me, unfortunately, but she's very patient and very concise in communication. Uh, not from me, from my husband, but she's my world, and we are the best of friends.
So she has her own story about how she began her passion, her lifelong work around travel. Tell us a little bit about your earliest inspiration and how you first became involved in your passion for travel.
Um, as you might know, I grew up in communist era Poland, so travel was obviously limited. The borders were closed. We could only travel within the socialist bloc. And my parents took me wherever they could, and they also, from the very beginning, inspired me to be curious, to read, to look around. They even challenged me as a child when we would go for little day trips during the weekend. They would challenge me to try to organize my memories and try to be more observant. So upon return home, I would sit down and write a little composition about what I have, little essay, what I have seen, what I have experienced. From my late dad, I learned to appreciate nature. We would go to pick mushrooms. We would just sit for hours and observe colonies of ants walking around. He was so interested in geography, so we had lots of maps and atlases, and it was a substitute for me. Of travel, which wasn't possible back then. Besides, my father had such a rich and vivid imagination, and we would play for hours sitting on a piece of carpet, and the carpet would turn into a pirate ship or a plane or something. He would make noises, and we would travel like this. My mom, on the other hand, she taught me actually curiosity for the world as well. And also, she saw to it that I would read a lot. And most of the books that they were buying for me, they were about faraway lands. And so, in a way, they prepped me for the world. And they also prepped me for travel because being 10-year-old, I was sent for private lessons in English and in German, which was unheard of because most of the kids of that age, they were playing with dolls and stuff like this. And from my mom, I also learned one very important question. If I would say that I cannot do it, it's impossible, my mom would say, walking to the moon is impossible. But when it comes to the communication with people, a lot is possible. You need to learn how to approach people, how to ask for help, and how to learn from the world. So these were very important lessons, and sometimes with comical effects, because I was told, because obviously I don't remember that, I was told that once there was a student of psychology who came to our kindergarten. It was much earlier, obviously before I started reading books, but there were stories. So she asked the children, "What would you like to be when you grow up?" To which my answer was, "I want to be a flight attendant or a dog." Well, my parents were asked to come for a little session. Well, explanation with a dog is easy because I didn't want to get up early in the morning and go to kindergarten, and the dog would be just snoring away. And flight attendant, it was my vision of getting out of the country and going somewhere and seeing places. So these were my early inspirations, and that's how the bug caught me.
Grazyna, you have spoken of travel, or perhaps when you were introduced to travel, you were taught to think of it in a way as an act of defiance. You mentioned that to me recently.
Mhm.
What
Yes.
what does that mean?
Um, Poland, as you might know, had a long record of fighting for democracy, for being in opposition to rule of communism, and it was going up and down for many decades and for many years. And at some point, shortly after I met my dear husband, my Flying Dutchman, as I call him, back then I was touring guide at the students' travel office, because it was another step of mine to get closer to travel, get closer to different cultures. So I managed to go and visit him in the Netherlands in 1981. It was in July, and in December the same year, in 1981, martial law was announced, and a military junta took over to suppress solidarity movement. And martial law lasted officially till July of 1983. And I was thinking, there must be a way. There must be a way to get out of the country. There must be a way. So I talked to people whom I trusted, and one of those people was my assistant professor at the Department of English Philology. And he said, you know what? There is a way to get your passport. And back then, our passports were at the police station. We didn't have them at home. So he prepared a very official looking document that I really needed for my research to go to the Netherlands, because I will be writing my master thesis on comparative grammar, which actually later on happened. And I managed to get the passport. But it was the first of the obstacles that was overcome. Traveling there was very difficult, because there were limited, almost no flights. So I took a very long ride by train. And I was so happy. I was so happy. I thought, I found a way to show you guys I can get out. And it was unbelievable experience, because many people of my age couldn't leave the country. And I managed. So
As I always like to say, you can't tell me what to do.
exactly. And I would add to it, where is the way? Where is the will? There is a way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Knowing how much this meant to you to have your freedom, to explore other cultures, to connect with other people. And you mentioned in the beginning the emphasis on communication
Mhm.
and using that to understand culture. Can you share a little bit more about that?
At certain point when I started studying English at Department of English Philology and Linguistics, it wasn't only about the language, although the language is obviously very, very important tool in communication. For me, it was also about cross-cultural communication, about gestures, about language of film and language of pictures, about semiotics. So every chance that I had to be in touch with people of different cultures, speaking different languages, I would observe them. I would be like a sponge, sucking it all in, and just having enormous joy, because we know that sometimes, even in our own language, we can be quite ambiguous. We can cause misunderstandings. And when you talk to people from different cultures, certain gestures are not understood, and there are certain cultural barriers and unwritten rules. For example, about personal space, how close you can come towards someone, whether you can hug someone, whether it's okay to touch someone. In Poland, we are very touchy-feely, and we kiss 3 times on the cheek, much to dismay of unsuspected new friends. But yeah, communication, language, and travel, it all meshed together for me. And all the choices, when I think back, all the choices that I made, and they were indirectly triggered by my parents, they were geared towards learning about the world, learning about people, and communicating with people. After my high school, I tried to unsuccessfully to get in to pass an entrance exam to Academy of Economics. I wanted to study international trade relations because people who graduated from such a department, they were traveling a lot. But it was such a miserable failure because you needed to know something about statistics and mathematics, and I'm not, geared towards it. I'm not gifted. So my mom said, if you think that you will be sitting for a year because you could take entrance exam just once a year, and doing nothing at home, you are wrong. You better pull yourself together and find another solution. So the next best thing was to get an associate diploma in economics and organization of travel and hospitality business. And from then I went to guiding, to being a guide at the students' travel office, and it rolled from there. But people and communicating with people and talking to them and learning what makes them tick, it's the most important thing for me.
Mama O is our guest today. And if you haven't already connected with her, you need to do so. And you'll find her on Twitter at Mama O _ GO, like the word go, like go as in you need to travel, you need to go somewhere. So that's Mama O _ go. And she is our guest today here on Wander to the Edge. Grazyna, I think about, I have some other questions, but before we get to those, connect the dots for us, for everyone who's getting to know you now. If you were a child in Poland, and you've told us a little bit about life as you were growing up and your parents, and we know that you're here in the U.S. now, and we know a little bit about your life here, and of course you're a mom, and you raised Nicolette and all these things. Connect the dots, though. In between, you had a few stops along the way. Tell us about those.
Yes, the major stop between Poland and the US was my time in the Netherlands. I got married I got married in 1984, Orwellian year, but for me a very happy year, and moved to the Netherlands to be with my husband a year and a half later, because I thought I'm not going to give up on my education and move to be Mrs. Orlemans and forget about my degree. And because of the program differences, it wasn't possible for me to do it in the Netherlands. But we were in constant communication. We were traveling all the time. We were visiting each other. And so I am actually not a one-time expert, but I have moved to a different culture before I came here, because I moved to the Netherlands. And you might say, oh, well, there's such a short distance between Poland and the Netherlands. What difference cannot make? Enormous difference, because most of the people in the Netherlands, they meant well, but they were telling me what to do, because that's at least I was registering it in that way. They have this phrase, that saying, and they say "je moet dit en dit doen," which translates freely into "you must do this or that." And just like then, I would say, "You are not telling me what to do." They are also very opinionated people, very blunt at times, which for me was quite shocking, because I was brought up to be very polite and speaking my mind, but in a somewhat controlled way. So at some point it was liberating, but at the beginning, to be on the receiving end, it was quite difficult to cope with that. And comical thing about being in Netherlands was the fact that when I really tried to learn the language, I would go to the bakery or to the butcher store, because then I was forced to talk really and not just grab things from the supermarket shelves. I would start in Dutch, and they were so helpful. They thought they were helpful. They were switching to English. So yeah, it was a bit uh, a bit difficult at times, but I entered such a warm nest. I mean, my Dutch family, they were very welcoming, um, very warm, very friendly. So I got lucky. But being an expat, even with a husband coming from the same country, can be trying, because you feel maybe the first couple of weeks like, oh, I'm on a honeymoon phase. Everything is wonderful. Everything is new. We are going out. We are doing this and that. It's exciting. But then you need to arrange certain things at official offices. You need to go for the first time to the doctor, to the dentist, and obviously my husband couldn't babysit me all the time. So these were realities that were sometimes difficult to compare to my experience, but I managed, because Dutch turned out to be people. They are solid as a rock. When you work with them, you know what's happening. They have plan A, B, and C. And from the Netherlands, where I grew as a professional, because I used to work there in wonderful companies, international companies, we moved to the US, and yeah, the rest is history. It was a little bit easier because of the language and because of some level of maturity that I reached as a person. But it's always challenging at the beginning.
I can't help but wonder, as you're talking about growing up as a child and learning multiple languages at
Mhm.
age 10, traveling on your own to the Netherlands during martial law, moving multiple times to different countries. Typically, that's not a normal childhood for anyone. And I can't help but think, particularly growing up in a Polish family, and how much that sort of defied cultural norms as well. Am I correct in thinking that this was a bit unusual?
Well, it was unusual in the sense that most of the other family members, my cousins and aunts, they would be absolutely shocked that my parents would allow this. That well, and my mom said she has her own mind. We know that we had certain input, how she is going to behave, how she is going to manage reality elsewhere. It's up to her. It will be her output. We gave her an input, and she will be giving some output. My parents always trusted me, and they always allowed me to make choices. Sometimes it was very difficult because children cannot make their own mind, or young people. And my mom say, well, I cannot decide everything for you. Just use your brains. And remember that actions have consequences. And I always kept it in mind, because there were times that I was also traveling to Netherlands, my very first time, I was hitchhiking. So I only went to West Berlin by train, went through checkpoint Charlie, and then I stayed in a very interesting place, which I can tell about at some point. But most people would say to my parents, "Well, it's so dangerous." Well, it may be dangerous if you make bad choices, but I developed in a way some sort of a radar. I know how to approach people, and most people are really helpful, really helpful. But again, as you said, Zen, it was very unusual, and I'm extremely, extremely grateful to my parents that they gave me the freedom to experiences to do it. I grew through travel like this enormously. For me, travel means transformation. Travel means something really, really special.
Grazyna, as you now think about your roots in Poland and your family there and your time in the Netherlands, and then, of course, your life here in the US, when you kind of take a step back and think about the person that you are today, do you identify certain pieces of the different cultures that kind of all come together and make you today?
Definitely, I'm a product of at least two cultures. Poland is my emotional anchor. I was born and raised and educated over there, but my growth as a professional person and as a wife, as a young mom, um, happened in the Netherlands. And until this day, although it's been almost 21 years since we left Netherlands, we have very strong bonds with friends and with people in the Netherlands. I learned a lot from Dutch about being prepared, about some work ethic, about speaking your mind. I softened it because of my Polish upbringing, but I always speak my mind. What you see is what you get. I will not put a wool over your eyes. I will tell you how it is. But in America, I also appreciated that enormous positive spirit of Americans. Um, some people say, oh, they always say, have a good day and have a good one, and they don't mean it. Well, it's a matter of speech, but it also reflects the fact that people try to interact, even superficially, and they smile towards each other, and they are seeking contact. While in Poland, when I was coming back regularly to Poland, I would just walk down the street and smile, and people would think, something wrong with her. I don't know her. Why is she smiling? But I thought, why not? Why not?
If you could give Adam and I lessons in terms of banter, because that is one of your strengths, and I think you have a favorite quote from Mark Twain. Do you want to share with us what that favorite quote is?
Oh, you mean the one about modesty?
Uh-huh.
Well, my favorite American author, Mark Twain, an absolute genius, once said, I was born modest, but it didn't last. And I find it such a wonderful phrase because, well, it shows that that you are aware of your shortcomings and that you are willing to laugh at yourself. And it helps because it disarms people. So quite often, when I try to solve a problem and when I'm seeking help from someone, I would use this attitude because it helps. And please do not understand it as my linguistic manipulation, that I'm playing some role, that I'm transactional. But I've noticed that when you ask for help and you say something to the effect, oh gosh, I didn't do my homework and I got lost, or I don't know what to do. Could you please help me? Or I don't know what I was thinking, but now I'm in a pickle. People laugh and people help, and it works every time. Um, Sometimes people get to such an enormous trouble to help you. I remember when we were traveling through Switzerland. We were going on a quite long tour with my parents to Italy, and I thought we would cover a longer distance than we actually were able to, because we got quite tired. So I stopped at the street and I asked someone if they could give us a suggestion where to stay for a night, because I haven't planned anything. And I said, well, I have my parents with us and we have a young child, and I'm really absolutely exhausted and I want to take a shower. And I, started talking and talking. And this guy said, just give me a minute. He made a phone call and he said, please follow me. So we started to follow this good man, and we were looking at each other at a certain point, because I thought, well, it doesn't look good, because we were following this guy well behind the border outskirts of Basel for 20 minutes, and then he stopped. He took us to his friends who had a little hotel, woke them up. We got fed. People cooked for us at an ungodly hour. We stayed in the beautiful place. And I could multiply such examples, but people are always, always, always helpful. Just you need to, I think, to be honest, to tell them why you appreciate their help and why you need the help. And they will always be there for you.
Grazyna, what language does your iPhone speak?
Well, I have 3 languages on my iPhone, and sometimes it causes quite funny situations, because I switch between languages, or sometimes I get spelling check or grammar check, obviously. And if I click on send too quickly, then people get interesting communications from me. But it's English, it's Dutch, and Polish. And these are also languages that we speak at home, and we have our own, we call it mix and match method. We are mixing languages according to the mood, to match the language to our mood, or to the situation. When we talk about something inherently American, or when we talk about Dutch politics, obviously we will not translate Dutch terms to each other. We speak Dutch. When I read an article or a book in Dutch, then I am more likely to answer any question that my husband is asking me, or anyone who comes at the door, in Dutch, which causes interesting situations. And when I'm very tired, I speak Polish. And when Nicolette, our daughter, wants to score points with Mama, she speaks Polish too.
I want to go back to the topic of people helping people. And you referenced a couple of times your professional career. Can we talk a little bit about that, about some of the work that you've done?
Yes. So in Netherlands, I worked for the marketing and sales company, and I was overseeing a couple of markets in Switzerland, in Austria, in Scandinavian countries, and obviously in Polish. And maybe I wasn't very helpful towards the consumers, because we had our sales force, but I was able to introduce certain procedures, certain new ideas to the company, how we should communicate with our people who work abroad, because it was actually men's world, and I was told we don't need to be doing any hand holding with our managers abroad. And I thought, these are people, they have needs, they want to vent, they want to talk about their successes, they want to boast, they want to cry on somebody's shoulder. So I started making Friday calls to those guys, and we would just chat one-on-one. Then I would also organize meetings in the Netherlands, so that we would come together, we would talk. It cleared lots of not only linguistic misunderstandings, but it also showed that in different countries we need to approach sales in a different way. So that was my Dutch experience. Then I also started working for the Dutch pharmaceutical company in the market, in the communications and PR department, the same company where my husband worked. And a couple of years later, they started talking about our move to the Netherlands. Well, I wasn't that much interested, because after a year, I left that company and started my own consulting business, trying to help Dutch investors on the Polish market. And for a year, I was having conversations with the board of directors, telling them that, look, you do not have anything to offer to the spouses. And I'm not playing tennis, I am not playing bridge, and I'm not going to sit at home and be executive wife. You do not offer us any chance to work or to develop our careers over there. So when we finally get to the US, I was very vocal about shortcomings of HR department. And I didn't complain about the people. I complained about procedures to make it clear. So at certain point, when our company headquarters from the Netherlands moved to the US, seeking cooperation partners, as I told you, I was a transition mama, but I have managed to, through my experience and through my approach to, and my direct experience as a wife, as a mom, as an expat, I was able to set procedures that would make this transition for people much easier. That simple things like this. Imagine you come from Europe, and your husband or wife works for the big company. You sit at home. You cannot even apply for credit card, because you have no credit history. It's not a case of not having a bad credit history. You have no credit history. You have no social security number. So it's also difficult to get a driver's license. There are simple things that sometimes people overlook, and you feel like an alien in a highly developed country. And because of that experience, I was able to talk about it, and lots of procedures were changed. And I'm extremely happy about it, that I put a little stepping block in front of others who followed me, and I helped them in such a way.
You're on mute, Adam. You're allowed to talk. I told you that.
Sound check.
I got
sound
distracted
check.
here. I did. I was on mute, changing these pictures, looking at these beautiful locations, and that's really what where I got this next question. Thinking travel here, Mama O, what are some of the favorite locations? Some of your favorite locations as you've had the opportunity to travel that stick out in your mind, and you're just like, this place was special.
There were so many special places, but many of those we visited in pre-digital times, and I don't want to provide you with bad quality pictures from Egypt or Scotland or south of France or Italy. So I simply showed you some pictures from London, I believe, also from Grand Cayman, because those countries were special in a different way. They were quite memorable because of the experience that we had with people. And for me, travel means meeting people and immersing ourselves in their culture and seeking contact and looking at the country through their eyes, and from time to time pretending that we are locals. So when I look back at the pictures of Grand Cayman, you can say, well, you have seen one Caribbean beach and they all look the same. Well, the palms are always interesting and relaxing. But when we were flying from Miami to Grand Cayman, and I opened In-Flight magazine, because back then we didn't think about all the germs residing over there, I almost screamed because I opened the magazine on the interview with one of my favorite British mystery novel writers. It was an interview with Dick Francis, who used to be Queen Mom's jockey for quite some time, steeplechase champion. And I was reading that he resides in virtually steps away from our hotel on 7 Mile Beach. So all the wheels started to turn in my head, and I thought, I need to speak to him. I need to get to him, because I was obsessed. I have all his books. So I started talking to cleaning ladies, to local bar owners, to people on the street, and guess what? They were very protective of him, so they wouldn't give me the address. But I had the whole network of locals trying to help me. And 2 days later, British expert, a photographer, called me, and he said, "Well, here is the number that you can call. It's Mr. Francis' manager, and maybe you can go from there." Day later, I get a phone call, and I thought I'm dreaming. Someone on the phone, and he says, "Hello, is this Mrs. Orlemans?" Yes, I am. Dick Francis. And I thought, yeah, and I'm Marilyn Monroe, right? But luckily, I didn't. I didn't say it. I listened, and he said, "I hear that you would like to meet with me. How about this afternoon?" So through enormous chain of people who were helpful, we went and spent wonderful afternoon with Dick Francis. He showed us around. He showed private letters from Queen Mom. We talked about his late wife. I wanted to know when the next book will be coming, and I learned from our discussion that his wife was so very instrumental in research for his books. So people open up when you show genuine interest. They are helpful. They will open up. Everyone has a story, and everyone is willing in some way to tell the story. We also had wonderful experiences with bed and breakfast owners, for example, in Scotland. Only through our conversations with these people, we learned that they were descendants of Scottish Romantic poet Robert Burns. Well, it's not that difficult to be descendant from Robert Burns, because he had 12 children by 4 different women. So the club was growing, obviously. But otherwise, we wouldn't know anything about this history. These people showed us first editions of his poems, some personal belongings. It was just a magical experience. Magical experience.
Grazyna, how do you distinguish between helpful banter and stalking?
Well, you made a good point. You made a good point because there is a very thin line, and you need to know when to stop, because not everyone is really entertained by a chatty woman. And trust me, I can be chatty, but I know when to stop. I am not that kind of person that people dread sitting next to at the on board of the airplane. I have a sense when I smile, when I make eye contact, and I ask a simple question. When people warm up and when people start talking, they are ready to talk. But when they do not continue, I will not press them, and I will not, try to bore them to death with my monologues. So there is a fine
Yeah.
line. There is a very fine line, but mostly people are social creatures, and they have something to tell, something to say, and you may ask a question and just wait, and they will warm up. They will tell you as much as they want. So it's at the beginning it might be difficult because you are enthusiastic, you ask questions, but you need to know when to stop. That's for sure.
And of course, I'm teasing you because I do adore you. So,
Oh, thank you. No,
yeah.
but it's a valid point. It's a valid point because some people are more extrovert than others, right? So we need to be respectful.
Like me, I'm an introvert.
You are
I'm
you
speechless
are in a
now.
way.
Yeah.
I'm teasing, not to
Yeah.
make this about me, but I actually am an introvert. People don't think of me that way. They think, oh, he
Mhm.
likes to talk, and I do. But yeah, but what you say is right. I mean, sometimes that the extroverting or the engaging people in a conversation, you do want to be respectful of what they want out of the exchange, and
Mhm.
some people, you made me laugh too when you were talking about the culture, and how, in some cultures you greet somebody and it's, 3 kisses on the cheek,
Mhm.
and in other cultures you really don't even touch each other, right? And
Exactly.
that clash. So being sensitive, which obviously you are and you learned to be from a very early age, it's an important skill, and some people don't have it, but you certainly do. Okay, I've heard a rumor that you are an amazing cook, so I would like to know, what is one of your favorite dishes to make for the family?
Hmm. We have, as you know, a mixed family because my husband, being Dutch, he grew up being exposed to old influences, colonial influences in the Netherlands. So we cook some Indonesian food. We love Italian food. Um, when I am really ambitious, I will just do something French with 100 ingredients and stuff like this. But I also cook a lot of Polish dishes as well. And sometimes when Nicolette was younger and she was coming back from vacations, I knew her favorite dishes, and I would cook would have those favorite dishes waiting for her when she was coming home, because it was exactly what my mom would do for me. So I cannot share special recipes or say, oh, this is my absolute favorite, because I have many favorites for different occasions. um, Food for us is also experiencing food is also an emotional communal experience. So like cooking for someone you love dearly, and you cook something that he or she loves. Yeah, that's special, and it can be a simple chicken soup, or it can be some favorite cake, or it can be, for example,
Oatmeal
what we cook.
cookies.
For example, whatever. Yeah. So, but we move freely within world cuisine, and we enjoy it all.
I can't help but think growing up, and my mom was Polish, um, and wasn't the most affectionate person. But if I said, like, "Mom, I love you," she would respond back with, "I cooked for you." And it took me a really long time to connect that that was her way of expressing love and affection, is that I cooked for you, therefore I must love you.
Probably that's what she
Yeah,
mean. Maybe she didn't get tools from home, from her parents.
yeah,
Maybe she came from a cold nest. I would put it like this, where people were not expressive, people didn't show feelings. But I think you are right, and it it might sound strange to someone who doesn't know this emotional component to cooking, but I cooked for you, ergo, thus,
yeah,
I love you because I'm nurturing you.
mhm,
I'm not only feeding you.
yeah.
Yeah, I would. And if I may ask, did she teach you some Polish or not?
I learned a couple key phrases when I
Hmm.
was younger that probably would butcher horribly if I tried to say them now, but basically, the 2 phrases that I was taught or heard the most that stuck with me, I'll say in English. One was, "Give me a kiss," and I remember the 3 kisses, that's how you would greet all your relatives, so it would be correct me if I'm wrong, it was something along the lines of, like, "Daj mnie buźnie," or something along those lines?
Da
Okay.
daj mi
Yeah.
buzi. Mhm.
Yeah. And then the other was, "Shut up or I'll smash your face in."
Well,
I grew
all
up in a really interesting childhood, let me put it that way.
oh, okay. There
Yeah,
are
and that was
many.
something along the lines of, like, "Yashno Hukana," or something
Oh,
along
okay.
that.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
so
jasna cholera, which would,
yeah.
yeah, which would mean, some four-letter word in English, and
Oh, okay, I didn't
yeah.
realize that, so
Well,
good to
no,
know.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. And funny thing about using swearing and cursing in different languages is that it's so much easier to do it in different language, in foreign language, because it doesn't have this emotional load. Until this day, I wouldn't dare to swear in Polish. I count in Polish. I dream in Polish from time to time. When I pray in Polish. How can I swear in Polish?
Yeah,
It's not possible. It's not possible. And it comes so easy in English. I'm sorry to say that I cause a stir because I do not quite control myself. And I'm not using really very ornamental, um, very bad words, but yes, I'm trying.
Sure, you're not.
No. I think I'm digging my own grave here. But what I'm trying to say is that it's really easier to use different language as a vehicle to show your anger. Sometimes
We're
I do it also in Dutch because they have sounds which are
we'll
gargling
have
sounds.
Nicolette confirm or
yeah.
deny this.
Okay. Hmm.
She can message us and let us know.
Yeah,
But it is what you I hadn't even thought about this in a while, but what you're saying is true. I think, uh, I sort of think of it this way. Cursing in a foreign language does not have that same like you said, it doesn't have the same feeling. I mean, it's a word, you know what it is, you understand it,
Hmm.
but I think, I kind of the way I think of it is unless you were beaten for saying it as a child, it doesn't, it doesn't carry that same oomph, and, it's kind of a funny it's just kind of a funny thing because in your language,
Mhm.
it has that meaning that is so much deeper and makes it a bad word.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's just kind of a word that you learned if it's
Yeah.
a second or third language. So kind of funny. We've talked about all kinds of things, Grazyna, today. Things we didn't know we were going to talk about, but we did know that it was going to be a great conversation. You are a very interesting, well-traveled, articulate person, and I'm sure we could sit here for another 2 or 3 hours and learn more about you and just be just as fascinated. But we thank you for your time today, and it's good to get to know you. We have gotten to know you through Twitter over the last couple of years, but this has been special, and I know for the people watching and listening, it's also been special for them as well, because now they've gotten to know at least a little bit the world famous Mama O.
Well, let's not exaggerate, but I would like to thank you for your invitation because I feel honored, and I was so surprised that you would even consider talking to me because there are so many wonderful people on Twitter and in social media who build communities. I'm just a thankful participant in communities, and I'm not blogging. I'm not realizing podcasts. I'm not bringing people together, but I banter and I support by engaging people on different chats. And now the travel communities are substitute for travel that we miss so much. And now is the time to get each other a little better. And every day is another chance to do so. So thank you again for all your work of bringing people together and their stories. Thank you. I'm
Well,
grateful.
the person that you are, right, is what shines through,
Yeah.
and that is why we knew we had to have you on the show. So thanks for being who you are and how you are and the way that you love and encourage the group, because that's what we feel. That's what we feel. You know, we see the humor, we see the wit that comes through in your comments and your participation, but there's a love for humanity that shines through you as a person and consequently your Twitter account. So thanks for that. And again, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hope to see you in real life soon.
I
Thank
hope
you.
so. I hope so. And that's what we do here at Wander to the Edge. It's friends talking travel. It's learning about different places, different backgrounds, different experiences. And especially in today's world, Grazyna, everybody needs to meet someone like you who's so committed to helping other people, to having that understanding, and to just be so welcoming and have that bit of humor too. So join us again next week. Well, we'll be back. I might let Adam talk, maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see. And we'll be here on Wander to the Edge.
No more betting on football.